Okay, can everyone stand up for just a second? If you are able, I want you to stand up, and I want everyone to close your eyes for a second. This is honestly more for me than for you, but I want you to take a deep breath with your whole body. Let it out. There you go. Everything you walked in here with today, any insecurities, any concerns, just let that go for a little bit, because we just get to all talk about something really sacred today, which is the space we get to hold for other humans as portrait photographers. Just think about that for a second. People tell us things they don't tell anyone else. People have experiences with us that change their lives. That's what we get to do. Okay, go ahead and have a seat. And I'm going to dive in because I got a lot to talk about and I am so excited to share it with you. I'm going to be talking about how to build your own boudoir philosophy. That's just your why. It's just why you do this. And I'm going to start my stopwatch on my phone, because if I don't do that and keep an eye on it, I will talk for days. My friends at the Boudoir album, wonderful, wonderful humans, they have been talking to PPA and wanting to bring more boudoir education to PPA. I have been involved with PPA since college, so probably 2010, 2011. And honestly, I had moved away from it a little more on the education side in recent years when I decided to become a lot more portrait, glamour, and boudoir photographer. Especially when I moved out of weddings and things like that. And I was so excited. I was so excited that they asked me to come speak, and I am so honored to be able to share this with you, because over the last few weeks, I realized at one point in my studio, as I'm like poring over books and notes and I'm just in it and I'm writing this talk, I'm like, oh, I'm basically getting to share my life's work on an incredible platform to so many photographers besides just the people in this room. And I'm so excited about that because I think it's so important. So my name's Mitzi. I'm Mitzi Starkweather. I've been a full-time portrait photographer since 2013. And then in 2017, my partner Jordan, who's here with us today, left their job out in a totally different field, which I'll talk about later, to come work with me. And this has been our family business since 2017. We had our baby in 2020. And yeah, I know, that was a crazy year to have a baby. That was wild. And he is 4.5 now, and just the absolute light and joy of my life. And I love to break rules. Now, I love rules, just like my son. He's the kid at school who enforces all the rules to all the other kids in his class. That's just what he loves to do. I've always loved rules too. But if they don't make sense to me, I love to break them. I'm like, nope, time to make a new rule. That one's dumb. Nope, not doing it. Because I'm very intentional about everything I do. In 2022, I changed my business in a big way. I know I mentioned earlier my Raw Portraits course. That came from a huge shift I made in my own business to move to a more honest form of portrait photography. Not to say that anything glamorous is dishonest, but my heart and the why behind why I did portrait photography completely changed in 22 because I was diagnosed with breast cancer. It changed my life. I actually went flat after breast cancer, which means you don't get reconstruction. And it changed everything for me. And I couldn't be more grateful for it. Now, a couple weeks ago, I found out the breast cancer is back. It's stage 4. So when I tell you that has given me immense clarity about what I'm going to talk about today, listen up. I'm here now. I have a great treatment team, and I'm confident that I can be around for many more years. But you know what? The reality is, and I think if you've been through something like cancer or you've had a loved one go through it, we all have a personal experience with it. And the reality is, I could die in a plane crash on the way home this week. And not to make light of anything like that, but I could. None of us knows how much time we have, ever. And I think that's why it's important for me to talk about this, to remind all of us of that. Because if you're showing up to this work, being a portrait photographer is not easy. Who got into this job because it's easy? No, it's challenging work. So do it your way. And if you're not doing it a way that lights you up, change it. Because you're going to grow and evolve. And something that worked for you 3 years ago might not just not work for you anymore. We're going to get inspired and we're going to create. And now that I've traumatized you with that news, you now have an emotional reaction tied to this experience and you'll never forget it. So I'm helping your memory retain this information. I love portraits. Oh, I love to photograph people. I love to photograph humans. That's why I do this. Landscape photographers, you guys are incredible. The patience you have, the technical knowledge you have, it's incredible. That's never been my thing. I love people. I love how unpredictable they are. I love human connection. And I am not, despite what you might think in this setting, because this is where I thrive, I am not like I love networking. I'm friends with everybody. I'm a social butterfly. That is not me at all. Has anyone heard of Clifton Strengths? Yeah, Clifton Strengths Assessment. Okay, my last, so it ranks you, it's a positive psychology thing, ranks you in these like 34, 35 areas. My least strong strength is called woo, which stands for win over others. Okay, so like I'm not the girl who walks into a networking event and just becomes friends with everyone. Like a lot of people will describe me as like off-putting or like, is she mad at me? Like that's more the thing. But I have learned that when I can have someone across from that camera from me, instant connection. People trust me because I'm just honest and I'm very authentic. And the more I lean into that, the better things have gotten. I think a lot of photographers are more trend in that direction. So I love portraits, every age, every gender, every background, everything. Portraits of humans is what lights me up. Okay. So why build your own boudoir philosophy? Why should we do this? Why is this important? Why you could also say why build your own portrait philosophy? You have a philosophy for everything you do right now. Like I think about my friend Michelle. Her philosophy of cooking and food is to fuel my body. That's her philosophy. So she loves like, the only thing I've ever seen her eat for a snack is apples or carrots. She loves like grilled chicken. She loves green beans. She loves to exercise. Like everything in her life is built around fueling her body. Okay. Now, there's also my grandma Linda, the most wonderful human in the entire world. She cooks for our family every Sunday. She makes a big meal. She doesn't cook the rest of the week. Like the rest of the week she eats leftovers from Sunday and like cereal. Because like her philosophy to cook for herself is not important. Her philosophy of cooking is to bring my family together. Okay? Are either of those right or wrong? No. They're just different. We all have philosophies for everything we do. And a lot of times we've just adopted it from something else. Or it's what our parents always did. Or it's what, the people in our immediate area do. And when we start out, especially in photography, we're going to find other photographers we look up to and adopt their philosophy. That's just what we're going to do. There's nothing wrong with that. We're going to start by emulating other people. But then as we go and as we grow and start to evolve, we have to figure it out for ourselves because that's the only way we can continue to evolve it. So a clear philosophy helps you serve your clients well. And that means money, value. I mean, value in many ways. Value from clients who you actually like to work with. How many of you like to have clients you enjoy working with? That's pretty great. That's a valuable thing to bring into your life and business, isn't it? When you serve them well, they come back. Who loves return clients? That's great. Don't have to re-educate them on the process. You just build that relationship over time. It's wonderful. What about like higher sales? Because you've connected with them more deeply, so they just buy even more photos or more products of those photos because you listen to them and serve them well, so now they love more of it. That's great. Okay, Because I don't know about you, but like my business has to pay my bills. So this is a very important piece to this equation. I'm a poet at heart. I'm going to quote a few poets. I love this line. It's from the end of a poem by John Newlove. The flower is not in its color, but in the seed. Your philosophy of portraiture, that's the seed. That's where this all starts. And I know we want to focus on the color of the flower. You can't change the flower by spray painting it another color, right? It's still going to be whatever flower it is. And yet we can often look at our work, we get a little dissatisfied, we get a little stuck. We're like, this isn't connecting, this isn't resonating with me and my clients. So then we're like, I need to buy this whole new Photoshop course, or I need to do, I need to buy a new camera. That's what I need. I need a new camera. I need new lenses. I need new lights. That's the problem. We tend to do that, but that, if you don't understand why you're doing it, that stuff is just extra. My portrait philosophy, so things I believe strongly about portraiture, every portrait I take could be that person's last. If you have ever photographed someone who passed away soon after, and you got the phone call or the email from the family member, or you saw it on Facebook, you probably have this as part of your philosophy too, I would think. For me, this happened because I started pretty young. So like I opened my business right out of college. 2013 is when I went full-time into photography. And I think it was about 2016. I had a client, she was my age, mid-20s. I photographed her, did this beautiful session. And then a year later, she took her life. And I remember a mutual friend reaching out and saying like, hey, the family is asking, like, could we see more portraits from her session, like that she hadn't bought? And I was like, yes, absolutely. And I've had a portrait of her up in my studio ever since, just to remind me that those were her last professional portraits. You always have, that's always a potential. Even when they come for boudoir session, right? If they come for headshots, if they come for whatever. And so I'm always trying to connect with my client, regardless of the genre, if only for that reason. Because I'm like, a family member might choose one of these to put up at their funeral. So am I photographing this person for who they are, or as this image that I've decided they should be? Okay, the second part is I create what my client wants, and then what I want. So if there is something specific they've requested, or oftentimes it's because they think a lot smaller than I do, or they think, okay, I saw this, I like this, I need to do this in my shoot. And I'm like, okay, yeah, great. And we talk about it, and they're like really insisting on something, or a certain outfit, or a certain pose, or a certain something. Then I'm like, yeah, great. But if I have other ideas, then I implement mine too. Which photos do they usually end up choosing the most of? Usually the stuff that I've created and collaborated with them, not that like one narrow picture, but that's okay. It's my job to serve them. So you always shoot both. And then I want them to feel whatever they need to feel. My goal is to create a safe, open space. That was something I saw in one of my photography Facebook groups recently. Someone asked, what do you want your clients to feel after a session with you? And people were like, confident, empowered, great about themselves. And I just said, I want them to feel whatever they need to feel. Because when they step in front of a camera on a backdrop like that, there's something really powerful about the fact that I'm a stranger. Kind of like when you talk to your therapist, you can tell them everything because they're kind of disconnected from it, right? Not to say that our job is to be a therapist to someone when we're not licensed for that. That's not what I'm saying at all. But when someone comes, it's like when people pour out their heart to the bartender or the hairstylist. They do it to us a lot too, because we're just kind of like a neutral force and we're just there to listen. We don't need anything from them. We're not going to weigh in. It's not our job to give advice. But it's really amazing because if you just allow that, people will just open up. And I don't know about you, but they surprise me all the time. And I want to make a note about difficult clients. Clients are people. They're just people. They're humans like you and me. And they will always mirror back your own insecurities, biases, and judgments. So learn how to see every difficult client interaction as a lesson to help you learn and grow. This is something it took me years to do. All the call outs that I'm giving you today, or like the challenges, or like that actually is because like I went through it. That's why I can talk about it. And I continue to go through it. And every time I have a difficult client situation, which doesn't happen a lot anymore, but it's going to just happen every once in a while, I use it as a learning opportunity. Like, oh, what is this showing me about myself? Oh, how could I have done this better for that client? For me, until several years ago, I would crop images of larger bodies because I would assume that especially women who came in for glamour and boudoir portraiture who were in bigger bodies didn't want to see their entire body on their photo. I would have never said that out loud. That was a belief I had because of my own body image issues that I had to address and look at. I don't know if you follow Terry Hofford. She's incredible. She's a photographer turned body image educator. And I'll have her, at the end of my second presentation, I'll have the handles of and the names of the people I mentioned today. But she absolutely shifted my mindset around this. She's in a larger body herself. She has done TED Talks now on like showing up in photos and like in front of your phone camera, professional photos, all of that. And it's really incredible. Our own biases and our own assumptions, we will put those on our clients without realizing it. And that's why it's so important for us to do that uncomfortable work sometimes, to be like, ooh, why do I believe that? And also, if you believe it about yourself, you're going to believe it about other people. So I know a lot of photographers will make jokes like, oh, I can't be on the other side of the camera. I'm going to break the lens. Ha, ha, ha. This is why I stay on the other side of the camera, right? We're afraid to get out. Guys, I'm afraid of being on the other side of the camera. That's really what you're saying. And then you get on Facebook and complain that your clients are insecure and afraid in front of your camera. It's like, well, you are. So do some work. Think about that. Get in front of the camera. We're going to do that later. Okay. Each of you is going to be up here by yourself. No, not like that. It'll be really fun. We show up to this work every single day. And it's challenging and it's rewarding, but shouldn't it just align with who we are? Because here's the thing, it aligns with who you are right now, no matter what. It'll always align with who you are. So choose who you want to be to show up to this. Choose what kind of things you want to believe. Because the cool thing about beliefs is that they can absolutely destroy your photography career. They can absolutely also make your photography career. And you get to control what you believe. And if a belief is no longer working for you, you can change it. But a lot of times we're just afraid to look in the mirror and be like, oh, I guess I believe that women with wrinkles hate their wrinkles and require them to be smoothed out at all costs. Why do I believe that? Am I putting that belief on my clients? Interesting. We'll talk more about that shortly. Honesty requires vulnerability. Now, this isn't showing up very well. If you're like, is that a bug? Yes. This is an image. It's pretty dark. This is an image. It's my client. It's just because of the lighting and stuff. But she's laying. This is her back. Her head's like on this side. She brought to her raw portrait session that, as Bobby Joe and I were talking about briefly a minute ago, a lot of these raw portrait sessions turn into boudoir, even though they didn't plan it, because they just shed their insecurities and become vulnerable. So the clothes come off too. It just goes along with it. But she had brought a little dried up dragonfly that she had. She was like, Mitzi, you're going to think this is so gross. But she was telling me she had found it on her driveway. And she had just gone through a big change in her life, a big period of grief. And when we go through grief, we tend to look at things more closely, tend to do uncomfortable work, right? And she said, dragonflies are actually a symbol of change and rebirth. And she's like, I've been seeing them everywhere, so I really want an image with you to put this dragonfly on my back and take a photo. It's like, that's super cool. What a vulnerable thing for her to do. To come into a session and bring that. She's a return client, and she's since become a friend. But she's also a photographer. Her work has been in the PPA loan collection. Her father's work was too. it's been so cool over the past few years to watch her on this journey of like her first session with me being like, because she knows the rules. It's worse when you're like, I know my hand should be turned to the side. I know that I should be like this. I know my chin should be forward. I know to look for my light. Like, you know this. And so you like overthink it. Like, I got to show up perfectly in this photo. And she had so much anxiety around it. And then now over the years, now she did this raw portrait session with me. And like, it was so amazing. It was so incredible. It was like, and she's like, I'm in my 40s now, and I'm just embracing who I am. She's like, and she had actually gained weight since her previous sessions. She had more wrinkles. She had whatever, all these imperfections, and she was finally willing to just look at them and embrace them. And it was so powerful and so amazing. And she was able to be that vulnerable with me because I'm willing to be that vulnerable. Not with my client in the session. It's not like they take their clothes off, so I take mine off too. Obviously that doesn't make sense. But she knows that I show up to my work in a vulnerable, real way. So she knew that she was safe to do that too. It has to start with us. It has to start with our own beliefs. Boudoir clients are the most vulnerable kind there is. Doesn't matter what gender they are. Doesn't matter what age they are. They're over the age of 18. They are vulnerable. That's why it makes people nervous. That's why women think, I have to lose 20 pounds before my shoot, like regardless of what their starting weight is. Oh, I have to have professional hair and makeup. Oh, I have to fix this. Oh, I got to make sure that I've got my Botox before. Oh, I have to make sure my nails are done. Oh, look. Because all of those outward things are just us saying, I'm not worthy of this as I am right now. Has anyone ever noticed that with clients? No matter what size they are, you talk to someone, they're like, I've really been wanting to book a shoot with you. I just need to lose 10 pounds. It's not the number, is it? It's not the 10 pounds. It's, I'm not worthy right now, but when I change myself to be smaller, I will be. It's like, you want to unpack that? Because here's the other thing. It's really funny. It's kind of ironic too. People will be like, oh, I'll do that shoot. Like 3 years go by, you see the same person. Oh, I've been wanting to shoot with you. And I'm like, sometimes I just want to joke with them. Like, you're getting older, right? Like, you're also worried about your wrinkles, but literally time is passing. So like, turns out none of that stuff matters. If you do not tell the truth about yourself, you cannot tell it about other people. Another poet, Virginia Woolf. So start by telling the truth about yourself. If you have a belief that comes up today, an uncomfortable belief, I want you to make a little uncomfortable belief page in your journal. Be like, oh, I'm worried about blah, blah, blah. Like, write it down. Own it. Look in the mirror. And be like, do I still want to believe that? Would I tell that to my client? Your client says, and I'm going to use the way people talk about it, okay? If your client's like, oh gosh, you could never do a session like that of me. I'm too fat. And yet you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, I'm too fat to look good in a photo. Okay, you believe the same thing. Change it. Too old, to this, to that, whatever. It's all just a lack of satisfaction with who we are. A lack of willingness to just be like, hey, what if I just show up as I am? What's really cool about Boudoir, I love to talk about it, you could argue any of these things, and people have, and they do. Boudoir is sexual. Boudoir is not sexual. Boudoir is empowering. Boudoir is not empowering. Boudoir is objectifying. Boudoir is not objectifying. Boudoir is lewd. Boudoir is not lewd. Boudoir, that's cheesy. That's prude. Boudoir is not prude. Boudoir is outdated. Boudoir is modern. Boudoir is not of women for men. Boudoir is of women for men. Boudoir is of women for themselves, or boudoir is for any gender, or boudoir is not for any gender. Whatever stands out to you here, write that word down. That's part of your philosophy right now. And if there's any of it that you want to change it. You probably subconsciously believe several of these statements in whatever order. All of these things exist. You could go find, I bet, oh man, the comment section on this video, oh, it's going to be. Except I was telling Jordan last night, I was like, but people are not going to be as hard on me because I told them I have cancer. But really, it's all just a discussion we need to be having. Because this is such a valuable and empowering type of portraiture. That's what I believe. Because I've seen it, and I continue to see it and evolve it and do it. And it's been my favorite since day one. So I'm going to keep bringing up these conversations. Every time you photograph someone, every time you photograph someone, you have the opportunity to empower them or exploit them. My friend, Donna Maria Robinson Jones, who is a current photographer, she's in DC, one of the wisest, most well-traveled, well-rounded, humble, and intentional people I have ever met. When I read this quote, I hear it in her voice and I see that conviction in her eyes. Every time you photograph someone, you have the opportunity to empower them or exploit them. And I hope that anytime you get out your camera, you remember this, whether it's your own kids, whether it's a session for your sister, you're just playing around, whether it's a paid client, doesn't matter. Every time you get your camera out, you have this opportunity. And I know we tend to see the word exploit, especially in when we're talking about photographing women in their underwear, okay? We think about it in that way, like the way exploitation movies or stuff like that. But really what exploit means is just to use something for your own benefit. You can exploit things in many different ways. You can exploit someone through a photo with them fully clothed because you're just making it about you and meeting your own needs. Or you can choose to empower them. Exploit is for me, empower is for you. When you're in a service industry, if you're doing any of this for yourself, that's a big red flag. That's a time to back up and be like, whoa, what am I trying to get out of this? And I'm not talking about simply getting paid to do work. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about I'm doing this for my own validation. Or I'm doing this, no, client, you say you want to be photographed this way? Actually, that's wrong. I'm the pro here. I'm going to do this. So that way when I post it on Facebook to all of my photography peers, they will like it. I don't know about you, but I went through a whole phase like that. That's just what we do when we're insecure, but we can change it. Any type of boudoir can be exploited. You have the soft bridal for her husband, face turned away because she didn't want these images. She's like, yes, you can share anonymous images of me, nothing else, right? Which is fine. Or then we got the powerful 5-inch heels, side profile, blazer over her shoulder. But either of these types of shoots could be exploited if that's your intention. So I don't want you to think it's just a certain type. It's anything. Insecurity makes things about me, the creator. This is a photo of my sister. You're going to see several photos of her throughout this presentation. She has been my muse since before I knew what a muse was. And we have created together since we were kids. And I would always do photo shoots of her, and we had this big unfinished basement. And I remember in 2014, at this time, I had graduated college. It was my first year of running my business full time. I was mainly doing weddings. I was shooting boudoir mainly for my brides, or for brides. And I was a pastor's wife at the time. I don't have a different partner now. Jordan's just not a pastor anymore. We were part of a very different world. And because of my own upbringing, just like with Photoshop, I'm not saying religion is good or bad, just like Photoshop. It's not. Everyone has their own things we believe. I grew up in a very high control religion situation. It's like the difference between indoctrination and faith. And I just saw things as rules and don't mess up or else. That was my interpretation. And so when I wanted to do boudoir and I was really pulled toward it and everything, I really wrestled with it. So for this image of my sister, for instance, she's wearing a little bralette that I had given her to wear because it was one of mine. And I was like, you should wear this because it's not a push-up bra. So it's a little more modest. She's not engaged. She's not engaged or married to this day. I had her put a ring on that finger so it looks like she's engaged because I only did that. I was morally, I can only do boudoir for women who are giving it to their husband to be like that. I believe that in my core. Nothing wrong with believing that, but that's what I don't anymore, but that's what I believed then. And she's just she's on a bed, of course, nice, soft, flattering light. Okay. Just staring off into the abyss with no life or emotion in her eyes whatsoever. Looking, yeah. Okay, so we all start by emulating other creators. Okay, if you looked up Boudoir on Pinterest in 2014, there you go. This is what it was. This is what we saw. I started shooting it. Okay, that's that. Not good or bad. I mean, I'm not like proud of it or connected to it now, but okay. Oh, this was 10 years later. These are tears streaming down her face. This is at the end of a raw portrait session. It's like, it's hard to look at an image of someone crying and not, like, you can feel it. She had this moment of just, like, she had been hugging herself. She had just been, we were listening to this song and, like, the lyrics were really powerful. And she was just there and I was shooting. And she had stripped down, just like as many people do at the end of their As I Am raw portrait session with me. She's wearing a necklace I gave her, actually, if you think about it. And the other one, she was wearing a piece of jewelry I told her she should wear to meet a standard. And this one, she happened to be wearing that necklace. Her hair is frizzy, blowing. She's 10 years older now. She has more wrinkles than the other one, just objectively. And that other one was Photoshopped. This one's not. This one's a little blurry because I was shaking, because I was very emotionally in the moment as well. And it's both our favorite image from the shoot. Because when she looks at photos, she sees, oh, that was that moment when I just knew that I'm enough exactly as I am. To truly empower someone, you have to collaborate with them. That involves vulnerability on your part, too. It's our job to create images that elicit the feeling our client has expressed. That's why I ask my clients, how do you want to feel? Because if you just assume that a woman booking boudoir with you wants to feel sexy, that is one word out of a list of 5,000 that she could want to feel. There's nothing good or bad about it. But if you limit it to that, she'll probably pick the bottom package and move along. Great, you did it. Can we be more than that? Yes, we all can be. We, the creator, have to have the confidence to trust that what we've created is good because it's aligned with our why. Several years ago, that image comes through while I'm culling. Oh, it's out of focus. Nope. Or, sorry, it is in focus. There's motion blur. Oh, no one wants a blurry photo. That's what I would have done. And now I'm like, how many photos did I just throw in the trash years ago because they weren't right? When they would have connected with people. Also, it's 2025, okay? People don't just hire photographers to get sharp, in focus, well-lit images of themselves anymore. We can get that with our phone. We're open to a lot more. Your why must be greater than your fear. Your philosophy has to be something you believe in your bones, in your gut. It's so close to your face. You already have it. I know you already do. It's the stuff you're a little bit afraid to do. That's what it is. But it's got to be there. Because then the fear of, let's say, learning lighting, learning to control light. That was a fear I had for a while. I shot natural light because I was, the tech, I'm going to. But then I got connected to the type of portraiture I was doing, and guess what? My lighting got so much better. It's like when you learn how to cook. Already, my second cooking metaphor, I love food and I love to cook. I got good at making gluten-free chicken parmesan. Oh, it's so good. You'd never know it's gluten-free. It's so good. Jordan knows. Because I love chicken parmesan. It wasn't like I was like, I need to learn how to properly bread and brown a piece of chicken. I'm going to learn how to do that. It was like, no, I learned I want some good chicken Parmesan. I want to use the olive oil and the Kerrygold butter so that way I get a nice brown on the crust. And then I know I'm only going to flip it one time so that it doesn't get all mushy. Like all these things that I learned as I made it over and over. That's how I learned to cook, right? That's how you learn to light. That's how you learn this technical stuff. That's how you learn Photoshop, because you've got a project that you're so excited about and it connects to your soul. So you will sit there and you will play with it and you will watch the YouTube tutorials to figure out a little skill, because it's going to something bigger. It's going to something greater.